Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's just like what carry is gonna be better. I mean, you've got Io Leshrac. You don't have to pick like an Io pairing with the carry. You could theoretically Io Mars and do Gyro plus one safe lane.
Mhm.
Um, now they see Lina, which is not the like kind of in response to the Leshrac, I guess. So SMG saving their carry for last rather than their mid since they know the matchup. I don't think Lesh has much flex potential, whereas I think the Gyro does.
Moon is awesome at Lina. I mean, who isn't awesome at Lina? But I think of Moon and I think he's really good at Lina. You know, I've seen him play it so much. I feel like confident on it. It's not always the greatest against Mars, just because Bulwark like directs all of her range or a lot of her range attacks to him, and obviously you can't hit through the arena. But she will be going BKB relatively early, so she should be able to fight, especially into like Leshrac and like there's a lot of magic damage right now. There you have to wait a long time for Gyro to like get like a substantial amount of physical damage, because even though he goes to Fusil, after that you're going like Ags, BKB. It's all this like stuff that's not a Crystallis. You know, he will get that later down the line, but yeah, as long as she has a BKB on Lina, she should have no problem fighting early. Especially with like Grim, Sand Bane, who are all really good at skirmishing with like low cooldowns.
I will say some of the was it Boom? Their Io Gyro they would rush Crystallis first item.
I saw them all go to Fusil Blade. At
Okay.
least this patch.
There was someone who was rushing Crystallis on Gyrocopter.
Oh.
We'll have to scrub the records for it. The Lina Lesh matchup, which side does this favor? I know last patch you were very much nothing really beats Lina. Is that still kind of the sentiment?
The Sharp can farm against Lina. He goes the is it Lightning Storm? I think you can farm with that pretty easily against
You
Lina.
think you get more than like a couple points? You max it, or?
I'm not a mid player. I'm merely remembering what I saw in a pub once 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, definitely in theory, like the reason Lena's going against Lesh is because Lesh wants to get up close to you. Edict, you typically want to max Edict, and you get your Nova, and Lena just stays at range and is always poking at Leshrac, outranges Lesh, so it makes the matchup tough for Leshrac. And if you can max Lightning Storm to farm, but then you don't have that rotation potential where you can quickly take towers with Edict. So
yeah, I doubt you'd put more than 1 point in it, but like at least because if you walk up at all, she's just gonna stun you, right? So it's just like if you need your range creep, that's how you get it. I think that's the idea behind it, and then you just do normal Leshrac things. Yeah,
I think the priority for Lesh is going to be those side lane rotations, like rotating to the Marsus lane. You've got the relocate global potential, so I like the Lesh pick, and Razor last. Okay.
That's right, Tusk and Razor being the last pickups there. So I'm going to ask Aries and Danog to join us, and this is definitely, Danog, going to be my favorite couch of yours. I hope you have a Mate Mate ready, because I've got a question for you. Do you like the Tusk being held off into the last pick?
I don't mind it. I just feel like this Polaris draft is entirely around enabling this Leshrac, right? I always talk about area denial and the sort. Tusk, great for it with the Ice Shards. You've already got the Mars for it with the Arena. So I feel like this is just going to be heavily playing around Lelouch in that mid game and just trying to enable the space for the Gyrocopter to be as farmed as he needs to be able to carry it later on.
I'll see. I don't know. Tusk is an interesting hero. A lot of people are trying to flex him to a core. Unfortunately, we don't get that this game. Would be very exciting if that was the case. But I like Danog said, it gives you a lot of area denial. But I like SMG's draft a lot.
Okay. So do you guys think this is going to be a 2-0 for Polaris, or are we going to go to a game 3?
I completely agree with them. I think Polaris's lineup is so good. The Tusk is going to like really make Moon's game impossible as well, I feel like.
Didn't they say SMG?
No, Danog said
Polaris. I said SMG and Danog
yeah.
said Polaris.
I completely disagree with Aries, and I completely agree with Danog.
Yes, tell him, Sheepa.
Danog,
I'm Polaris too. The way Polaris played, I mean, it's Io Gyro. I think it's just it plays itself.
This time Polaris has more than just one believer for them. So Aries and Danog, please take us into game number 2.
There's a bunch of haters. I don't know what it is. You want a game 3? What's going on? We all want a game 3. You just have to... actually, I understand. It's the cast a curse, but we didn't all favor Polaris. So hopefully you guys are cursing Polaris. And for me, I'm not cursing SMG. I'm actually giving them the advantage they need to take this game, because I want a game 3, Danog. Every series like this, we want it to go the distance. It's an exciting matchup between these two teams. Of course, SMG really needing to get some victories under their belt. They have played only 2 series, 1-1 at the moment, but if they can start to compete towards the top of the table, you need to start picking up some momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've only played 2 series, and both of them were 2-0s. You know, they lost 2-0 to T1, and they 2-0'd Execration, I believe, in pretty convincing fashion. Well, what do you mean?
It's not the streak. The streak doesn't continue. It ends here. We're going game 3.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Because the thing is, it's not even just like in DPC. They have played 2 official series on this patch. Whereas, you know, Polaris, they're at least reaching out, playing some of these third-party tournaments, Pro Series, and a couple of others. So it can go 2 ways, right? You can either reveal more strats, or you can be a little bit more practiced on this patch. And for me, it kind of felt like the end game of game number 1 led me to believe that they perhaps were a little bit out of practice, or not quite as in tune with each other in terms of where to position themselves once the late game decision making does become a factor.
So I'm looking this game to see how the lane is able to shape up. This is a hero that I know Eastern European DPC unfortunately isn't going on at the moment. They do have Winline, Dota 2 Champions League, where there's a lot of teams that are still picking up the Lina, and they're having a lot of success on it. So I'm still yet to see Lina through a lot of other regions, but I'm very excited to see how Moon can play it, because it is definitely one of Moon's best heroes. But like Sheep said, it's rough into heroes that can get on top of it very early. Tusk is able to do so, and I think Arena is one of the best ways to deal with the right-clicking Lina as the game goes on. So all eyes on how Force can look to identify the damage that you need to shut down from Moon.
Yeah, I wonder exactly how they're going to play this. I know a lot of mid players really hate the new style of Lina, how you actually need to hit units to be able to get stacks of the Fiery Soul, but I mean, it just makes it not quite a brain-dead hero anymore, which I'm always a big fan of. You know, you actually need to position yourself effectively. You need to have your team not nuke an entire creep wave. You need to keep a neutral stack nearby so you can get those the additional charges into it. So I'm a fan of that. I'm just curious as to how they're going to position themselves whenever they look to go for a push. Or is it just going to be classic SMG style where they don't slow push, right? They don't stand behind Moon, who hits towers. Is it going to be a smoke behind, which gets a couple of pickoffs, which then transitions into a tower? Because if they did the former, and they just look to stand behind this Lina as she's looking to siege with a lot of these attack speed, you do have some decent counter initiation coming through with the Sand King. The Bane, of course, can save with the Nightmare, even if you go for this super deep dive with the Tusk and try and get the Walrus Punch off. So there's a couple of options available for SMG, don't get me wrong. I just feel like Polaris, their draft meshes together better overall.
And they are one of the few teams that are choosing Dire as well at a ridiculous basis. They are huge fans of this, and we see how the draft can kind of align with this mentality as well. You've got an Io Gyro pairing, an Io Lesh pairing that really love farming stacks. I'm a big fan of this Io Lesh combo, and I would like to see them amplify the Lush very early on, because I think he's someone who can run over this game and then look to play with the Gyro afterwards.
And we're also getting a Io Mars pairing in the lane. So not the Io Gyro for super early on. It's going to be one of these pairings that, you know, you're not stuck at the hip for the entire game on Natsumi, which means, of course, it's going to suffer you in terms of farm a little bit, but your experience is going to go a little bit more in favor of Natsumi, really feeling perhaps like they want to be able to brawl against SMG a little bit more effectively, and the levels are going to make that a lot more... Yeah, you're going to be a lot more capable of doing that sort of stuff, as Raging Potato is getting gone on again. Maybe a little early on the burrow when you've got this tag team available.
Oh, Jesus, oh, Fu, hang on. They've got the level 2 now, and Raging Potato's going to run the opposite direction and more than likely end up feeding his own life away as well. Burrow back available, and he just gets over to the other side, but first blood picked up, and I was honestly a bit concerned on how the Sand King Grimstroke lane was going to go into the Gyro Ira that I thought it was going to be. But it already looks like, you know, Gyro with the Tusk can be a very menacing combo.
Yeah, you and I were talking about it when the draft was going on, and it was like... The way that I felt that it was going to happen was you have this Sand King, the Grimstroke, 2 heroes that have abilities that are able to push the wave underneath the tower so that it shoves back further into your favor, and then you can go for a return kill. But, I mean, Tusk is one of those heroes that loves to brawl super early on. So, Potato has to be a little bit careful here, and they're even going to need to use the install movement speed to get away.
Another beautiful shards. Mavis on point to start our second game. Looks like they should easily be able to chase down Fairy Fire. In fact, okay. Not so easy. Natsumi dishing a lot of damage into Rage Potato, nonetheless.
Running real low on the regen, though. Just a single set of tangos coming out for Raging Potatoes. So even though he might not die now in this lane, it's almost better not to kill him, to be honest, right? Because he's just not capable of coming up to this lane and farming. You don't want him to get that full health and mana reset.
The Sanking, every time I see it, it just has a horrible lane. Not every time. I should say probably 90%. There are lanes where he does okay. But there's just a majority of lanes where this exactly happens. And I'm so surprised they're not trying to just pull the wave and at least get one free wave behind the tower, because that's often what we see in a lot of Sanking lanes, because they've recognized early on you cannot face check the enemy's heroes.
Well, they're able to get this pull off onto our favorite neutral creeps, the Warpine Raiders, and kind of surprising that Mavis wasn't able to stop this as well. Could very easily just right-clicked Arfu to guarantee that he took the aggro away.
Ninja Boogie. Just Nightmare dodge. Force going to be able to reapply the damage onto Ninja Boogie. Looks like he's already used all his spells. The Bane's able to get back to safety. Meanwhile, top lane, Raging Potato still in trouble. Gonna look to turn it back around with a double ink spell. They're not getting the extra damage from the Rocket Barrage. Arfu, along with the creeps, tanking up Natsumi's damage early on. So both sides low on the resources now.
Yeah, just had the salve left remaining, so Natsumi at least himself is going to be fine. What Mavis is going to do here? Do they look to go for a kill? He's a little low on mana, though. Able to affect that and doesn't even need to rotate through towards the water rune to enable Leshrac to get it.
Should take a quick look at mid with how it's shaping up at the moment. Is very, very even between the two. Unfortunately for Lush, he will not get one of the runes, though. We do see often a Leshrac into a range matchup. You are putting a little bit more emphasis in the Lightning Storm. That can be like a 2-0-2 and then back into the Edicts. Just so you can take some objectives when the catapults connect, or when you want to try and go down to one of the side lanes.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Lelouch is fine to go for this farm trade, but again, it's a Moon Lina. Like, this is one of the heroes that he is synonymous with. Might have his level 6, and actually, one thing that we haven't really seen, because we haven't seen quite as much Lina, is the impact of the recent change to the Laguna Blade, right? You have relatively low mana pool at the start of the game. You're constantly looking to be spamming out these spells, but that reduction in mana cost to 150 from 250 can enable you to get a lot more of these solo pickups that you need to snowball even further.
I hope they're stacking for Raging Potato, which it looks like Arfu is slightly. Double at the Ancients, double at the Hard. I think I saw a Ma in for OG in Europe. We farmed the Ancient stack with an Epicenter prior. I can't remember what team it was against now. It's Ninja Boogie, who's really in trouble down bottom. Win1 hasn't gotten a lot of damage stolen with the static link, but 2 points in the plasma field. Enough to hold back Xavius, but a great timing with the Fairy Fire, and Force is continuing to right-click down Ninja Boogie, but an off-time spear means that they will not be able to get the kill.
Upside, going for an aggressive Burrow Strike here. Raging Potato has to be careful.
Now Arfu's going to be careful as well. Looks like a second kill for Polaris. Is this top lane continuing to be disastrous for SMG?
Yeah, a very odd choice as well. I mean, he had the stick charges available to be able to have the mana for the Sandstorm. And, you know, they had the dust available on the Tusk there, but at least you burn a dust charge, right? If that's the case. So, a bit of an odd choice not to use it. Maybe just wanting a little bit more sustain for the lane once he does come back to it. Which doesn't even need him to TP mid as well after he went for the old suicide into the tower.
Top lane, Gyrocopter. Beautiful read from SMG. They know that Mavis just denied to the tower, so Natsumi won't have the Tusk to play with him. There's no way he survives from this, and he runs straight back into the Sand King. And it will be Raging Potato that gets the kill as well, so that is huge for the Sand King.
He tried for the 5-head play, but turns out 4-head was enough. He could have just porked on straight back to the lane and probably would have been fine, but that's the thing about high-level Dota. I remember watching a Sing Sing stream back in the day. Oh,
Maybe so do it.
not into a double damage. Try and deny up his own ward here, saying, oh no, nothing for you.
He's gonna do it. Oh, he did it. Still no level in the ultimate, but Moon will not need that, as he has the double damage rune and easily uses the right clicks to claim the life of the toss. So Danog, Moon is off to a flying start. That's about 700 net worth lead over Lelouch.
So what I was saying about before with 60, before you rudely interrupted me, was A lot of
Sorry,
times at
what?
this high level, you try and overthink things. Like, you think, okay, this player is going to do this because it's the smart thing to do, and then you just... Doing the obvious thing was the better choice, essentially. So it's something that can catch us out a lot of the time, and for Natsume on the top side, it was exactly what happened.
Are you seeing this observer ward placed mid under the T1 tower? I don't think anyone's ever going to D-ward that. That is a... That's when you've had the... yeah, safe. When you've had the map for so long that you need to start getting really creative with where you place your wards. And if that gets D-warded, I'd be incredibly surprised.
Maybe once the tower goes down.
So Force... Are you surprised that Mars is lower net worth than Ragey Potato, who looks like he's about to die, surrounded by 3 heroes on Polaris? I guess that's going to help out Force's net worth. At least it's not too bad with all the deaths that Sand King has had so far.
I'm a little surprised. I mean, you've got the spear, of course, to be able to stop the static link from having an impact against you in the laning stage, but I mean, mid ones are still 2 full levels away, and I feel like Ninja Boogie's been pretty good in that lane as well, just using the Nightmare right after the static link gets used, so you don't actually have that capability to get the instant spear off, and a lot of your damage does get stolen away.
Dire are scanning.
Feels like it's more than likely going to be the cookie cutter build from mid one. Are you expecting any transition into other items as well? Or just the kind of obvious for the Razor?
Yeah, I think it has to be BKB's second item. Like, for this to come out, again, the Tusk is still going to be a factor, and to his credit, Mavis has been very good with the use of the Ice Shards, but you need to make sure you're running.
An early rotation for the Leshrac, but great position from Ninja Boogie. Force is just in range, so drops the arena over the tree line. That is huge. A little bit late reactions, I think, from mid one. The Lesh was entering the high ground where they did have a ward, but it was just his farming pattern walking over towards him. So great rotation for Belush, 4 points needed, and this tower should end up dropping.
Yeah, even using the glyph before the diabolic started, so he's going to get full value out of it here on Lelouch. Should go down pretty quick there. Ninja Boog is still hanging around. I don't think you could go for any kind of turnaround play here. Raging Potato still needs to get a little bit of that extra farm. He's close to his Blink Dagger, though. It's the style that we come to expect.
I think for SMG this game, it has to be BKBs, is what I'm looking out for.
Yeah, absolutely. Against the Mars, like, you need to just be able to run on to that.
Also the Leshrac. Lesh, Gyrocopter is about to max out Rocket Barrage, so you need to hit these along with mid one and the Lina at a very good timing. Otherwise,
look at this. They could go for a relocate play onto mid one. Yep.
Gonna do just that. Mavis scouting out with the invisibility rune. They're trying to TP to the T2 tower, but I don't think mid one will stay alive much longer. A Soulbind to hold it back. Really nice combination for Armfield with a blink reveal. Raging Potato steps into the fight, and that's a big one to reveal it. Taking away the life, setting up for a 2 for 2. Ninja Boogie claims the kill onto Tusk, but it looks like Natsume should have the follow-up damage once he's able to get close enough with the Rocket Barrage and won't even need it. So really good reactions there from SMG. That could have been just mid one going down and them not really getting any return kills, but they do show up with some numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it's important that you reduce the impact of this Razor as much as possible. I think it was a very good last pick of the draft. Something that is able to take a lot of the pressure away that Leshrac and Co are looking to try and put on. Because Lina, this is one of those games where Lina is the real carry of this game. A lot of it is being put onto the back of Moon. He's the one that's going to be doing a lot of the sieging unless it's like a couple of kills, and you've got your Aghanim Scepter as well on mid one. So any kind of play that's going to stop that real tempo setter is the big win.
Another deep attempt, but this time Shards is off the mark for Mavis. Force is still chasing though, so I mean that's huge. They of course get the deny, but I'm 100% in agreement. Moon is their win condition, and every kill opportunity that you just miss out on means that Moon can get closer and closer to him being the damage dealing position 2 that they need.
And it's becoming a little bit of a habit here coming through Mavis. This game is going to go the helm of the Dominator. So it's not like last game where you had the Night Stalker with his Dark Ascension, the flying, and lots of different other abilities. Storm Spirit zipping around to be able to scout out, let's say, the Harpy Scout if they do end up picking that one up. So It's going to provide a huge vision boost for Polaris as well.
Does seem a bit awkward though for SMG how they can play this early game. Like we brought up before, BKBs are what they're requiring, and we see they're just playing super passive, where it's Polaris. They're the ones that can really push the tempo. You've got the Tusk that can set up on the side lanes, a Blink soon to be completed from Force, so he too can try and get these initial jumps, and then you've all of a sudden got probably an IO and a Leshrac TPing in.
Yeah, but you're looking to play around this mid lane. Unfortunately for SMG, it's going to be right on the timing of the Blink Dagger coming through on Force. So as it gets delivered to him, he'll have the TP, be able to join in onto this team fight.Ey're going for this little backstab play I was kind of talking about here. Just standing behind Moon, baiting him out a little bit, and having that strong counter initiation.
He's going to TP in. That's an aggressive jump behind the tower. Great reactions from Moon with the BKB, but there will be no follow-up. Epi almost claiming the life of Mavis, but your first BKB usage and you don't get anything out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they had the setup correct for that fight, but I mean, it was really quick fingers by Moon as well, right? To be able to get that BKB off to stop the initial Blink arena coming through from Force. But for whatever reason, Ragey Potato just kept going on forward. I still feel like you could have just continued to stand behind Moon as he sieges that tower and then go for the counter initiation play. Maybe the smoke was running out and they wanted to make some use out of it, but I feel like it's a bit of a mistake. Don't even have the epicenter again if they want to go for a similar sort of play, so I feel like this
Potato
Rune's been bottom
again.
a lot.
There's no follow-up. No one can join in with these deep dives. Food will now step in without a power to follow up. Yep.
Use the Soulbind. No Laguna Blade. No double stun. This is what I'm talking about, you know, you can scrim all you want, but the pressure really does start to ramp up in officials, and SMG haven't been playing anywhere near as much as a lot of these other teams. Like even T1
look at top
played in the
now.
BTS
Look at top, they're
Series.
setting up. Lush waiting, they had the ward, but no initial stun. And that's the issue. Without Tusk or Mars being the one to set up for the relocate, someone should always be able to run away.
I only just realized, actually, Razor only has the 2 points in the static link. So, obviously, prioritizing that speed a lot more. It's just going to rely a lot on that damage.
I don't hate it, especially when you need to kind of evade away from this relocate, away from the shards, a lot of the area control, just potentially kiting these fights is very important for mid one.
And you need to be able to catch up to an IO and a Leshrac. I mean, Lesh is fast in general, and an IO is just going to boost him up even further.
Again, gotta ask the question, who is enjoying the status quo of this game a little bit more? Hold that Great Potato, jump into the river, and this time he will have heroes nearby to be able to convert with his initiation.
I'm just having a look at what some of these heroes have built up so far. I mean, I feel like both teams are kind of okay with how things are shaping up. I mean, Natsumi, he's nearly hitting onto his level 12, so he's going to have a very strong fighting timing. He's nearly got his BKB too. So does mid one, though. They're essentially going to hit it at the exact same time. So again, it's just all going to be around this vision. Who gets the right fight on their grounds, basically. Is it going to be that counter initiation play that I was talking about, or is it going to be perhaps going for a smoke on Polaris with this Mars Tusk Leshrac combination, and then it's still the relocate, right? Because that's the luxury that you have with playing with this IO. You can still reveal on the map, so a lot of these rotations
Great arena finds both SMG heroes playing super aggressively across the map, and that's an instant 2-for-1 trade. They knew the observer was placed. They had a sentry prior, so they were kind of dangling Force's hero, just waiting in anticipation, and that's where the rest of Polaris were able to show up and turn it around.
I'm still kind of wondering what they're doing there solo, though, right? Like, it's not like, again, you have this IO draft where you can just instantly join in with the rest of the team. It was just Grimstroke and Sandking on their own, and they didn't even use the epicenter, so felt like a little bit odd. Lina wasn't quite connected, even though she's got this BKB available.
Here we go. We've even got BKB onto Natsumi. I think one thing to mention, though, is Dire have a big advantage with their wards. Ninja Boogie's just going to miss the one up top, so 30 seconds left to scout at him along with Ragey Potato.
Oh, that's a great item to have on the Razor. Surely, mid one, you got to make sure you pick up the Quicksilver Amulet. You will.
Where is it?
He's got it picked up now.
Moving top. Again, they're under a ward. They got a further ward back towards the lane. So Force is able to put the Sand King away from the tower. A great use of the Nightmare from Ninja Boogie. But still, Raging Potato will be cut off as Alush blocking out the escape avenue, along with the shards for good measure to block Ninja Boogie in between the shards and the tree line. A 2 for nothing, along with objective now to claim.
It does feel like this is the sort of play that I was expecting SMG to be making when they hit a lot of their early timings. I mean, they've got the BKB on the Razor, and he's got an additional 1,200 gold on top of that. He'll be fine. He's got BKB.
Yeah, but they have Walrus Punch as well, so he can't BKB TPR. He's just got to stand his ground and man fight, kill the Tusk, and then go for it. Oh, Moon, that's a crazy play. Ooh, what a read, but not close enough as now top we go. Forces landed the arena, but the rest of Polaris, we saw them make the skirmish down bottom, so they do not have the numbers. Xavius doesn't bring a +1 on the return to the relocate. Gonna tether to the creeps, and they will not find him.
Doesn't have the TPI though, although it is mid one. It is a Razor, so he's gonna look to go into these trees. Plasma, yeah.
There we go. Another kill for mid one. He's gonna love that. Needs to finish his food before he starts moving on to bigger and better things.
Really making the most out of that Arcane Rune as well. The Eye of the Storm going to be back and available basically once this Lena's respawned and on the field, so I feel like you could just continue to move on forward. You didn't use the Epicenter, it's level 2. I just want to see the tempo continue to ramp up for SMG. Play on this top side of the map, place down some deep vision in unorthodox spots, and try and catch Polaris with their pants down. You know there's no arena as well.
So you're speaking a lot about the tempo for SMG. Is it a concern that they cannot deal with an IO gyro?
Sorry to interrupt. Do they feel like I don't know about this? I feel like this is going to be an incredibly slow Roshan.
Oh, they just scanned. Pops red, and even though they have got vision nearby, they need the arena. I don't know, man. This is a high risk, high reward play. Who's going to charge in the middle with the BKB? Force a follow up as well. But Radiant, they're sticking towards the backline. They're onto Natsumi. Lacuna Blade cuts away the life, and there's that high risk and high reward. But SMG, oh, what a call for them to take the fight. 4 down, soon to be a wipe. And now they can go in the pit. They were just baiting. They knew they had the BKBs. They wanted to fight. They wanted Polaris to come towards the area. And now they get the cherry on top.
But that fight is completely different if Natsumi just pops his BKB. Moon hit a 2-man stun onto him, and that was all they needed to be able to get the initial burst through and completely wipe out a lot of Polaris's damage. But you just see the difference, right? That is the exact same spot. There was the game-ending fight in game number 1. And it was such a big difference with being able to have vision. The vision advantage just allowed them to take everything that they could on their terms. There was a little bit of execution mistakes coming through, but still, Moon continuing to show why you give the man his Lena, even though it's not solidly in the meta right now.
That could have been
Scotty.
I love it. I love it. You just... Lesh needs to run into the middle, and if you kite the initial attempt to bring someone down, and if you can reposition, get the Scotty slow, then all of a sudden Lesh, he can't really stay on top of heroes, and that's exactly what he needs to do. And it just tanks you up a little bit. Great versus the Gyrocopter too, a range carry against the Io. It's an exceptional item this game. He doesn't have double ultimate orb, right? Is he already that close?
Yes, he does. I'm pretty sure he does.
Oh my. And now he's going to get a free kill into the Tusk as well, so a little bit more gold for Moon. Danog, you're a little bit worried right now with your prediction? I don't know.
No, I'm still 5 ahead of you, so I'm fine.
This game, CEO is gonna do it. I believe in him. It's a CEO Lena. He can't lose. I refuse to believe it.
All right, well, with this Scotty, it's going to make it very difficult for Polaris to be able to come back into things. I mean, it is the impact of just one fight, right? It's this Aegis is going to enable mid-one's aggressive style too. And he's even picked up the refresher orb for himself. He's level 18. So, yeah, just going to look to continuously keep these lanes pushed out. I mean, that's the benefit of this Boots of Travel Lean. Nothing's changed in that regard. He's got a DD as well. Like, this is looking really good for SMG.
Yeah, you force
What's their vision like? That's the only thing that's lacking. They've got this safe board, but it's not exactly where you want to be making the aggressive moves, right? They haven't placed anything deep. nothing's behind the tower. And have a look at where they Mavis recently placed the sentry between the tier
Not
2 and tier 3 mid.
again. Oh, Raging Potato, get rid of the ward. Okay. I was going to say, they placed an observer again with a sentry already dropped. It's like Raging Potato will de-ward that, so very nicely done.
Does feel like they're dodging things right now on Polaris, though. Even if it means they lose a couple of objectives, it's important that they get their timings. You've got the Aghanim Scepter now on the Gyrocopter for a little bit of increase.
Are they?
I think they have to test it.
Well, we saw Polaris go higher ground a little bit early in game 1, but they're going to jump before they get set off! Raging Potato! What an initiation! A bow onto 2! And there you go, Polaris, they can't get set up!
Dire structures are fortified.
Aghanim Scepter completed. Xavier's going to try and get back and will, unfortunately, Raging Potato just off the mark. They don't end up getting a tier 3 tower, though, as a result of all of this. I mean, it is still a buyback on your Mars.
Did you just Nightmare dodge the split earth? Or was it just off the mark?
I didn't see it, sorry.
Okay. Well, let's pretend like he did. Hold play from Ninja Boogie. Raging Potato's in.
Amazing.
Xavier still got the tether. Early BKB loose. Usage from Lesh. But he's going to try and charge in the middle. Without Raging Potato now, a lot of their initiations not a potential to turn this around. As Lelouch finds a double, they're going to run to Moon on the high ground as well. And he's going to get caught out before he can escape. Triple for Lelouch. And even though they started the previous skirmish so incredibly well, as Polaris, that will stem the high ground push.
Hey, Ares, you a little bit worried right now?
Oh, no. We're chilling. Come on, man. Hey, none of that.
Radiant's
I believe in the
bottom tower is
guys.
under attack.
All of that. Oh, you've even got a Blink Dagger on a Leshrac. Okay.
Radiant's
And a little bit more aggressive, really wanting to get in onto those backlines and create some distance away from this Razor. I really like this. You want to try and get an early use out of the BKB as well from Moon.
Alright, they're respawning. Okay, maybe I'm a little bit nervous. After my predictions, I want a game 3. Yeah, that's really it. I just want a game 3, man. Ooh,
Has Mavis been able to get a good Helm Dome creep, though?
I don't think so. I haven't seen the Harpy. Force? Finds Raging Potato again. BKB looking to turn it around. Now they get the Soul Bind, but Ninja Boogie's not in a position to utilize the ultimate. So they still don't have to lean it for all their damage. Mid one's trying to try and soak away Natsumi.
Great reload.
But a great timing of the relocate puts him out of harm's way. Mid one still able to show this Razor is a scary hero to combat into.
I mean, they're able to withstand the Aegis timing without losing high ground, which is really what you were expecting if you go this aggressive SMG draft. You know, those early BKBs already down to 6 seconds on the Lina. Razor's down to 6 as well. So it's, I mean, if they can last a little bit longer, make the Leshrac tanky to be able to survive through that big burst, and that's what the Sanj is going to do, then things are starting to look a little bit more positive for Polaris. In the almost reaching the level 20. Honestly, wouldn't surprise me to see him go for the 20 strength on the Lesh at level 20 as well, just to, again, enable that survivability.
Well, the advantage at SMG, we're able to accumulate. It's kind of, you know, being held down a little bit with that previous attempt. Polaris are only down 6,000. We even got our own blink on Moon as well, so just going to help out with his positioning. They do not see Mavis. That's Dire's ward on the higher gun, but they are smoked. They'd like a bigger fish to fry than the Tusk. Oh, they got a DB as well. Alright, they're going to look to jump the Tusk. An early BKB from Lelouch means that he can get back to the safety of his tier 2 tower.
Close to a lot of these timings. I think that's a Daedalus completed here for Natsumi. It's almost reached level 20. Extra movement speed going to be incredibly effective again against a Razor. You just want to have a lot of those abilities to create space between yourself and the Razor. Hell, even the Lina just trying to chase after you, especially when she's got the Skadi. Again, I like the fact that Polaris, they adapt to what the enemy team has.
Oh, wow, they're going to butt their heads again onto the higher gun.
The DD, I think they're just trying to force out some TPs back to the base so that they're not looking to extend this lead a little bit.
Good one.
By saying
completed the Ags. It's all on force. Need to get that perfect spear back into a compromised position. They will give them at least some respect here. Helena Sword, that's a good item. Yes, sir, yes, sir.
And turns out I'm dead wrong as well. Both Lesh and the Jar are going the
Like always.
opposite talent from what I said. Yeah, absolutely. But it really does feel like all they need to do is survive the initial burst. I'm still very confident about that. But it really feels like they think another way. Maybe realizing that, well, because these BKBs are such low duration, they're treated more as a premium rather than something that they can just pop willy-nilly. Maybe the Razor can because he's got the refresher.
He's going to be in the path of Polaris, and they are super split. They are mega split. Let's see how his reactions are. An early BKB. Raging Potato once again. The FPM, but Moon, he blinked away. So the follow-up not going to be there. They take away the life of Force. Now R2 jumps in onto the high cover. The double Fiends. There's no escape. It's Polaris getting shredded inside their own territory. And Xavius, he'll go back to his own death as well as SMG, losing no one.
Raging Potato, man. These initiations, other than that first one at the mid-tier 1 tower, they've all been on point. Able to recover what was a horrible lane.
Oh, they still got top. Sorry. Getting ahead of myself. That's okay. No, they will hit T4. I'm not getting ahead of myself.
I mean, they don't have glyph. You want to test these buybacks?
You pop refresher for the another Ags? You do need BKB.
No, you just BKB and then refresh.
They're falling real low.
Well, there's 2 buybacks. I feel like you're pretty happy without an SMG, and well, maybe they could just look to continuously play around this Roche pit. Get that Aghanim's shard timing on... See, who would you even get it on at this stage? Lena's is awful.
Hey, look.
It's all.
You could give it to Sand King. Maybe mid 1 as well. Who is under a ward. They do see Dire pushing out of the map. Rage Potato, they're all grouped up. Not again. A double burrow strike. And now mid 1 has the fall. They're in shambles on Polaris. They don't have the gyro to take the skirmish. And that'll result in multiple heroes falling into the grave. Lelouch? Whoa, 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 Lelouch! Oh no. You can't blink in without BKB and Danog. You're shaking your booties a little bit, your prediction. Oh, you're wrong again as SMG. We're going to a game 3.
Yes, we are. And, well, it's a really good game coming through from SMG. You know, the difference to playing around your vision, huh? What a big difference it makes. And to take advantage of perhaps a little bit of aggression that shouldn't have been there from Polaris. But what can I say? CEO Lena comes out and very effective with that. And Raging Potato, what initiations. I mean, to constantly have 3, 4 man occasionally, Epicenter, Blink, it's just a crazy amount of damage that he was able to get from the Sand King, from a lane that went, to be honest, quite horribly.
The background fits in perfectly. CEO at the helm, pushing SMG to their first victory of the series, and now it means we get to go the distance. A full best of 3 with SMG against Polaris, and you're 1 down. There we go. We're starting to close the distance. There's a lot of gap that I needed to pick up with our prediction battle, but SMG, they will come out on top in our second game. We're going to send it over break where we'll come back with the panel to break this one down.